What's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. Really do, big time, mate. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series, every single ruddy day here on the channel, where I reflect on what's been said about the Blues, giving you my opinion on it. More importantly, asking for yours. And today we're reflecting on some inside knowledge, some exciting insight into the Chelsea owners. Who said what's going on, and why Todd Boehly should hopefully win. It's gonna be ruddy wicked, mate. Thank you for joining me. Please do consider dropping a like and subscribing if you want to help me out and support the channel. Support your local content creator by liking video. Guys, we are actually nearing 150,000 subscribers, which is, of course, an astronomical milestone. And, you could be a part of me reaching that milestone by subscribing. Right. Okay. So today, in this video, we're going to be reflecting off the information written by Paul Cannonville, of course, ex-Chelsea player, Chelsea's first ever black footballer and author of Black and Blue. Really nice chap, integrated well into the Chelsea fan community recently on social media, and he's spoken to all the prospective Chelsea owners, I think probably largely in reference to inclusivity and stuff like that, but he's had a relatively unique opportunity to speak to all of the Chelsea FC bidders, and he's published his thoughts on social media about each buyer, and I want to go through and share that with you now. And we can, of course, reflect on said information like we do here on the channel, man. So, it's going to be fun. We're going to be settling in. So if you want to follow Paul Cannonville on social media, it's at King Canners on Twitter. What a guy, man. So let's read what he had to say and go through the text, and we'll stop and reflect on the important bits as we go. All right, then. Here we go. Enough has been said already about how I came to be in the mix with the prospective new owners, and I said that I would wait until a decision was made before elaborating on how the discussions went. Over the last week, I've seen things appearing in the media, which I found worrying. Don't anyone get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of both Serena and Lewis, which is, of course, he's referencing Serena Williams and Lewis Hamilton joining the Broughton bid. Both Williams sisters have been phenomenal achievers and proud advocates of the civil rights issues. Ticks a big box with me personally, of course. As far as playing a role in developing anti-racism, diversity, and inclusion programs for Chelsea, though, I feel this is disrespectful of our own supporter base. Interesting. Serena is on record saying she supports Real Madrid, and while I know Lewis has now suggested he was bullied into supporting Arsenal by his sister, he is an Arsenal fan, and that's a fact. So I love this off the bat from Cannons. He's saying, look, this promo sort of inclusion thing from Serena and Lewis, she's a Real Madrid fan, and of course Hamilton is literally a fan of one of Chelsea's biggest London rivals. So he's saying, look, a lot of people might think that's trivial and doesn't matter, but he cares. He's proper Chelsea Canners. So let's read on. I always support Lewis Hamilton in everything he does in F1. He's the greatest driver ever, in my opinion, and as with Serena, is a phenomenal icon for black achievement and civil rights. With football, though, I think he should stay loyal to his own team, so that's kind of continuing of what I said there. Let's read on, because we're starting to get some more information. When I met Michael Broughton, he spoke to me about the concept of celebrities heading up our club's diversity and inclusion programs, and I was not impressed. We already have a very good foundation, and I feel we could indeed be working with our own celebrity fans, as in, like, why do you need to bring in Real Madrid fans? Why do you need to bring in Arsenal fans? It's important, first and foremost, to have the supporters, members, and experienced practitioners putting these programs in place, and I want to be much more involved in this myself. I think that my own school talks would be much more on point. He also spoke about the tokenization, that's in quotation marks, of our fans and some kind of Bitcoin technology, which I must admit went a bit over my head, as it would most of us canners. Apparently, this is a commercial model for increasing clubs' revenue. So on that quickly, look, man, NFTs, tokens, all that stuff. It is here to stay, whether you like it or not. I don't find it particularly alluring, but I don't think it should necessarily be considered an alluring pitch for taking over the club. Like, oh, don't worry, guys, we're going to put in Bitcoin and stuff into Chelsea. That doesn't make you go, okay. It will get like a very select few people excited, but not a lot of people. Apparently, this is a commercial model for increasing the club's revenue, which is fair enough, whatever. One of the things I liked best about the Ricketts-Griffin consortium, who of course now have pulled out, was the very strong plans they had for developing the foundation's work, with Laura Ricketts being on the board of the Obama Foundation, the possibility of a partnership with them internationally. Of course, that's relatively moot point now because the Ricketts are out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find out about the next gang. So Pagliuca, right, and this is recently it was rumored and reported that Pagliuca was going to be eliminated next, to which he responded, what, this is news to me, and we don't know if that's true, but I'll read on here. Mr. Pagliuca was extremely impressive when we spoke briefly on the phone. Very passionate about how he would invest heavily on all fronts, and not just the team and the stadium, but also the foundation. He seemed very knowledgeable on my story and the work I do. To be honest though, what impressed me most was the fact how he had won JT over. So of course John Terry. JT loves Chelsea and would only want what's the best for the club. I hope that whatever consortium wins finds an ongoing role for him. I think now, with all things considered, I need to declare that the Todd Boehly team, who I met with myself and the foundation chair, Raphael here, were the ones that impressed us most. Ding, ding, ding. So off the bat, you say, look, he's rounded down, he's gone for everyone, and he's bringing it home here and saying, look, the best is Todd Boehly's gang. The Todd Boehly boys. I can't think of any more clever names. Todd delayed a flight back to the States in order to spend some time with us, and then his team talked us through their plans. Also, it's worth mentioning, a lot of you guys watching this will probably have noticed through pictures and, media and stuff, that Todd Boehly's been attending a lot of Chelsea games. Good games, bad games in terms of results. He's been at a lot of them. So he delayed his flight to talk to them about his plans. The expertise around sports marketing and how to make Chelsea the biggest sports brand in the world was impressive, as was the expertise around the stadium plans. So yeah, on that quickly, Pagliuca, the story with him maybe not being in the front of the race anymore, was he couldn't present as a convincing plan to Rain Group how to develop the stadium. Todd Boehly's consortium, his group, apparently they presented a really convincing roadmap, a really convincing plan how to develop Stamford Bridge to Rain Group. It's like, look, this is super difficult, to the point Roman Abramovich wanted to relocate to Battersea Power Station, and he had loads of money. None of you guys are convincing you how they can do it. Bang, this is exactly how we'll do it, and we know how. So that's put them in a very strong position around the stadium plans. What won me over entirely, though, was the huge passion for social impact around community outreach and how it's important they saw it. He also touched on how important he believes that the ex-players should be more heavily involved across the board and in all areas of the club. The UK-based team members are hugely experienced and passionate Chelsea fans, so apart from the global sports marketing expertise of the LA Dodgers, they have people who understand our club's culture inside out. I think they would do a great job of taking our club to a new level on all fronts. Wow, this is huge praise for Todd Boehly here from Canada, who's obviously met with all the owners. Mr. Buck has been incredibly supportive of me, personally, and in my darkest hours. Of course, he's referencing Bruce Buck, the Chelsea chairman. Last year, he was sending messages to the hospital, letting them know the club had my back. It's very sweet. The naming of the suite was down to him, although I understand he had it signed off personally by Roman. So there you have it from me. My preference, as the final showdown approaches, Todd Boehly Consortium is my favoured new owner. Nothing against the others, who all have strengths, but this is by far the best fit for Chelsea and the fans, in my view. One thing I would ask them to consider, if successful, would be they reach out to Laura Ricketts and get into the conversation with the Obama Foundation. That's the kind of partnership collaboration the club should be looking towards with the diversity and inclusion programs to develop the club's outreach globally. Wow, what a comprehensive and insightful post from Cannonville there. That's incredible from Canners. He's basically said, look, these guys are good, these guys are good, I spoke to them about these, they look like they're going to do this. Because we've had lots of like relatively comprehensive reports from media and journalists, like, you know, what I've just explained, how Boehly's got a really good roadmap for the stadium, maybe it was much better comparatively to other potential bidders or potential owners. But not only that, you've got a guy who's Chelsea, who's, you know, interested in or knows the importance of diversity and inclusion, and he just knows what it means to be Chelsea and wants our club to be the best. He's just said, look, this is legit, this is the guy, this is, you know, he's proven to me. And it's important to... It's because you could speak to one bidder and they could charm you, and you could be like, oh, if they win, we're going to be fine because they've said loads of good things. But when you've spoken to all of them, you suddenly think, actually, you are the best. It's like when you go and view a new property to rent and you want to move house or flat or something. You might go to a place and go, yeah, it's just pretty nice. But if you view 4 places, you'll find the perfect one. Or you might find the perfect one. And that one that looks pretty nice, you start noticing, actually, it's not perfect. It had this problem and this problem. But this place doesn't have any of that. And it looks like it's ideal to cultivate a better life and future for me. And this is a weird like comparison and metaphor, but I think it's relevant. So it's the same with bidders. Todd Boehly's been moving relatively quietly, but like I said in so many videos, man, he's been planning for Chelsea ever since he wanted to buy it, or he's had it in his head ever since he wanted to buy it 4 years ago. So no wonder they've got their head on the stadium plans, because he's probably reflected on it as like a project in his head. He knows what he wants to do with Chelsea, and I think we'd be in a really strong position should Todd Boehly win. I think they're probably the favourites, and this being published by Cannonville could only be more positive, I think, for their campaign. Let me know what you think, though. Comment down below. Let's start up the conversation between you guys. Thank you for joining me in the content. I upload at least once a day, so if you choose to subscribe, make sure the bell is switched on. There's some graphic changes happening on the channel quite soon, so keep an eye out for that. And I look forward to chatting to you again. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me bitch.